Jar by Sylvia Plath. I think there is some paranormal shit going on. I think the spirit of Sylvia Plath has come to visit me. Hello everyone. Today I wanted to share with you guys my top 10 favorite books because I truly believe that sharing art is essential and talking about art is essential and talking about fiction is important, and art is just so precious and it should be like shared between each other. It's like a love language. So I'll be sharing with you guys my top 10 favorite books of all time. The genres are like a quite mixed up, so just like hold tight for that. So these are the books. First book is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. And can I eat this book? Can I eat this book? I literally love this book so much. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Sylvia Plath is one of my favorite poets. She's one of my favorite authors and I love her so much. And if you like reading about unhinged women, unhinged like female protagonists, this book is literally your cup of tea. It does contain a lot of like dark themes, so you should do your fair share of like research on like trigger warnings before like actually reading this book. But The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath is one of my favorites and I love her. She's my baby and I would die for her. And the next one is Norwegian by Murakami, and I literally mean it when I say that I would sell my fucking soul to reread this book again. I love this book so much. This is like the first Murakami I ever read and I completely, utterly fell in love with it. And like the main protagonist struggles with life and then like coming of age and then like college life, and he has a really complicated relationship with his dead best friend's girlfriend. Murakami's writing is, in this book, it's very simple, but it's really scenic, but at the same time it's really poetic, and it spoke to me on so many levels, and the characters spoke to me on so many levels. And yeah, if like you are in your like late teens, something like that, this book will be like a perfect read for you. The next one is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, and this book left me awestruck. I read this a long time back, but I still remember the feeling, the intense surge of emotions that took over my body when I read this book, when I completed reading this book. It's about war, it's about how war like devastates families, it's about how war devastates love lives and houses and places, and the description of war in this is just so painful. I ugly cried when I read this. There are so many parts which are like absolutely heartbreaking, and I firmly believe that everyone should read this book once in their lifetime. The next one is by my favorite contemporary author. She's the love of my life. She's everything. It's Normal People by Sally Rooney. It's like a romance book, but it also like unravels, takes a deep dive into capitalism and like social classes and how that like inevitably impacts our personal relationships. The characters are so fucked up. They are so fucked up. They are such messy people, but I related to them on so many levels, and that's my exact problem. I really connected with them on so many levels, and I think that's my fucking problem because I related to these characters and they are fucked up people, but it's very raw and it's very human-like. Nothing is like a fairy tale in this romance book. Like, don't expect a fairy tale. You won't be getting that. I want to kiss her so bad. I might just. The next one is a classic. It's Metamor Forces by Franz Kafka, and he's the infamous author who is infamous for his daddy issues. That was a tongue twister. Basically, like the main protagonist of this book wakes up one morning as a bug. Like there's no explanation to why he woke up as that, and I think it was very unhinged of Franz Kafka to do that. It's very eerie, it's very unsettling, it's absurd in the most perfect way, and it's a short read, and if you're looking forward to like getting on with classics, like you should pick this up as a beginner. The next one is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. In this book, basically, there's a cafe, and in that cafe, there's like a table, and when you sit on that table, you can like travel back to the past. But there are a lot of rules that needs to be followed. And I cried like a baby while reading each of the chapters. Japanese literature is one of the best, and yeah, please indulge yourself in Japanese literature because you won't regret it. Trust me.
Also, I would like to add that I like this book for the sole purpose because it like reminded me of like anime, and you know, the scenery of Japan and all that is very appealing to me in any book. The writing was not revolutionary or anything, but it was simple, and it was how a normal person, how normal people would talk usually. And it was, I think, real, so that I really liked the book for that reason. And plus it was sad and it made me cry.
The next one is Sally Rooney's Beautiful World, Where Are You? This is a simple book. It's no plot, only vibes. It's about like finding happiness in the mundane everyday thing. Also, like, this one is literally a bunch of essays. The two females exchange emails with each other, and they just like talk about capitalism, they talk about like ancient history, they talk about architect, and just like so many like aesthetics, like beauty, everything. The next one is a classic, and it's Emma by Jane Austen. I love this book so much. It's a slow burn, and the protagonist is like a matchmaker, and she believes that she makes the best matches in the entire area where she lives. You know, it's a love story, it's romance. It's just like Victorian women and Victorian men falling in love with each other, and the declaration of love. And the quote, the famous quote, "If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more." Invented romance. The next one is The Awakening by Kate Chopin. Kind of reminds me of Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. I haven't read the book, but I've watched the movie, but like the plot is quite similar. But I read the book first, this book first, like before watching the movie. So yeah, I really fell in love with the writing. The writing is just so scenic and poetic, and she does like so much justice to the characters, and you feel like you empathize with Edna so much, although she makes like really silly mistakes, although she makes like mistakes that can't be excused. The Book of Woman by Osho. This book left me puzzled, left me with questions. The author, he's so unhinged. This is like a factual book, I think, because it's about being a woman by the perspective of a man, I think. But he does put a small disclaimer at the beginning that you shouldn't read this book as a woman or a man or any gender you identify with. You just like should read this book as like a human being. There are like certain points in this book that I didn't like, from like his homophobic remarks and all that, but then overall it's like a good book, and it's really spiritual. It talks about your mind, it talks about your body, it talks about your soul, loving yourself. And this book has helped me a lot in like helping myself to love myself more, and then like embracing my body more. This is like the only self-help book I think that I actually liked. So these are my top 10 favorite books. I love them. They are my babies, they are my kids. And let me know if you read like any one of them, because I would like be really happy if you took my recommendations and like ended up loving one of these books. That would actually make me really happy. So yeah, let me know. I'll see you in the next video. That's it for today. Bye.